YouTube, it's Joanna Delilah. I'm going to do a quick video on this face paint illusion. I'll just come a bit closer. Excuse the terrible lighting. I think I've said before in my other videos, I don't have the benefit of a fancy posh makeup studio to work from. So I'm in my conservatory and it's a sunny day. Long boring story anyway, but yeah, I hope you can see. So this is all created just with face paint and it's pretty quick to do. I'm going to do one on my hand and take you through it step by step. I'm just using an eyeliner brush and a face paint palette. I'm using the Mehron Paradise palette and we're going to use the brown, red, black and white. So any face paints you've got in those four colours, and one brush and some water. So I'm going to start off with the red colour. So I'm just loading up my little brush. And I'm going to start to do my cut along my hand. Like so. You can make it a bit like fatter in places if you want to. You can change, do whatever shape you want. I'm just going to fill mine out a little bit here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is use the rest of the red that we've got on the brush and start to shade either side. See on here I've got like red shading. It makes it look like the skin's quite sore there. So I'm going to really lightly, I didn't think this through actually doing this on the back of my hand. There we are, we can both see now. Really lightly, just gonna etch a little bit of red, leaving a gap of a couple of millimeters each side. And really important that you don't put too much red on this bit. So just a little bit, and leave gaps because then you're going to blend it all through and then you won't have too much, because if you use too much it very quickly will just go, completely red or pink. So that's more than enough. All right, so that's step 2. Might be worth screenshotting at this point and then you could do a little step by step. That noise is just me cleaning off my brush in the water. So I've just dunked my brush in the water and cleaned off the paint and then just given it a quick tap on a towel so that it's not dripping wet, but so that it is damp. And then with the damp brush, I'm just going to drag that paint around my edges. So I'm not going to touch the middle bit. I want that nice and strong, but this bit, I want a little bit kind of washy and more sheer. Okay, another clean off. Keep cleaning off your brush so that you don't end up with too much paint, because the less the better on this type of illusion. Illusion face painting is brilliant. There's some amazing people that I follow that specialise in it. I'm sure you already follow Mimi Choi. How do you say her Instagram name? Mimless M-I-M-L-E-S it is anyway. Another brilliant one is called The Amazing Gyro. J-I-R-O, he really is amazing. But the one that I learned this type of technique from is Matteo Arfanotti. If you don't know Matteo, look him up. Matteo Arfanotti is one of the world's best face and body painters. He is amazing and really good at this type of illusion stuff. His stuff is incredible. So I'm just giving that a little bit of a blend at the edges. We don't want it perfect tidy. So at this point it should start to resemble, if you're in the UK, you'll know what I mean by a bacon frazzle. It's like a crisp. Oh no, if you're not in the UK, a crisp is something different, isn't it? Do you call it a potato chip? A frazzle, a bacon fry, or a rasher of bacon, I don't know. All right, so nice and blended at your edges and a little bit soft. Next thing we're going to do is add a little bit of black, and you need to be very cautious with the black, so little bit at a time, and a very light hand and a very fine brush. And I'm going to add a few outlines to the outer edge of my red, but on the red, if that makes sense. So really, really fine outline. And again, I'm going to leave some gaps. I don't want the whole thing outlined. So what we want to do here is create the impression of depth by making it darker at the edges. It starts to look a bit more 3D because it will look like the skin on top of it is sticking up, and that's casting a shadow. Cleaning off my brush, adding a little bit more red onto the brush, just a very small amount. This works much better. This whole thing works much better if you're using a tiny bit of paint at a time. And just like we did the other, you're just going to blend it, but keep it towards the edges. You don't want to move that black around too much. It's a very fine detail at the edges. And it works kind of better from a slight distance away, and that's perfectly fine, because that's what we're all about, really. It needs to look better, like with all face paint, it needs to look better from a slight distance away. And this type of thing, you can go back and forth really and think, oh, I'm going to add a little bit more red, I'm going to deepen that back up. So just play about and go back and forth till you're happy with it. I'm going to add a little bit more red. And just add a few little blobs of red in there. So I've got a few areas that are brighter red and a few that are darker with the black. Again, not too much, just breaking up that black a little bit so it's not a solid line. Then with what left, then with the red I've got left, I'm going to put my dots in for where my stitches are going to go. Like that. Might be worth another screenshot actually. And then I'm just going to soften them a bit with my finger. Smudge them up a bit because they wouldn't be neat, would they? Okay, next thing I'm going to do is highlight the outer edges. You can see where there's like naturally a bit of a highlight going on there. We want to emphasize that. So I'm mixing a little bit of the brown with a little bit of the white to get, actually mix a little bit of orange as well, to make a very, very light kind of peachy skin tone. So what you want to mix is obviously to match with your skin tone, but be a bit lighter. And just again, a small amount of this. We're going to run this along the edges. Like so. You see it's starting to make it stand out more and look a bit more 3D. Clean off my brush, wipe up my towel, and then just gently blend that in the same way that I did the red and the black. Just pull in that paint along with a damp brush. Not too much of a blend. It doesn't matter if it does look quite up close, you know, liney, because this is all about, as I said, your illusion. So if you refine it too much and blend it too much, you don't get the same impact. So it does in some cases need to look a little bit fake and a bit drawn on. So after we've done our highlight, we're going to add our black thread stitches. You could do this with any colour really, whatever colour you want your stitches to be. I'm doing black. You could do like little rectangles of a grey to make it look like staples. All sorts of options. I'm just going with black thread, and then I'm going to do a curved line from dot to dot. Make sure your curves all fall in the same direction. Oh, yeah, I'm out of shot, sorry. There we go. That one needs to be a bit thicker, doesn't it? Then we're going to make those look even more 3D by adding some shadow, and I'm going to use the brown face paint. One thing I see a lot when people are just starting out and learning how to do illusion-y stuff is they'll put a shadow in, and the shadow is like with grey eyeshadow or black eyeshadow. Try it with brown. Brown shadows look a lot more realistic than black or grey do. So now, underneath each curve, I'm going to do a straight line dot to dot. It's almost as if you're changing a capital C to a capital D. So straight from dot to dot, and it looks like the shadow from the stitch. There we go. Last thing I'm going to do, could it be second to last? I might add a little bit more red at where those stitches come out. I'm going to go with some white, and we want to get the white fairly bright. I'm just going to put some little highlights like I've got in here on top of the blood, which will just make it look a bit more shiny. Let's say that is nice gooey wet blood inside that cut. Nice. I don't know if this is the right choice of words, but there we are. So it just makes it look a little bit more glossy and shiny. Gives it more of a liquidy look. And then you could use a little bit of that white, just tiny touches here and there along your raised edge, and even a little bit around where each stitch is coming out of the skin. Just highlight them, not every single one, don't go overboard, but just some little touches here and there really help to make it look more 3D. And then I think I'll just add a tiny little bit more red to where my stitches are coming out, just a little speck on the top ones. There we go, just emphasize that puncture. And that's pretty much it. Really good for Halloween face paints and that type of thing. You could do them in all different colours. So if you were doing like a Frankenstein's monster, you could do exactly the same as I've just done, but your shading would be in green. And your blood would probably still be in red, but you could do green, I don't know. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Get practicing and let me know how you get on. Take care. I will see you soon.